Hey there, this is Schwermetallisch, and I'm sitting here with Ken Mary of the awesome epic band Flotsam and Jetsam. Hey Ken,
Hey, how are you today?
it's quite warm here. My room is okay, but outside you're just getting fried.
Well, I'm going to tell you, I can guarantee that it's hotter here.
Where are you at?
Phoenix, Arizona.
Yeah, okay, I believe that.
Today is going to be 115.
Oh, what is that in degrees Celsius?
Uh, I don't know. I'd have to, here, let me look it up. Anyway, we could start while I'm looking that up, but it's going to be hot. It's very hot.
Of course.
I
So,
forgot.
yeah, the hottest I ever survived was 39 degrees. It was 2019.
Wow.
And that was like, okay, I'm dying.
Let's see.
We need to do the Jeopardy music in the background.
Yes, we do. Actually, we should probably get moving on the interview instead of me looking this up, right? But 115 is very hot, but I'll try and figure it out while we're talking.
No problem. So, Ken, you're with the band since 2017, right?
That's correct. Yep.
At least that's what the metal archives say.
They are correct.
That is great.
Well, anything you read on the internet is always correct. You know, there's never any mistakes on the internet.
Yeah, I should just make a Wikipedia article about me being president of a planet. Give me all your money.
Exactly.
But maybe I would say give me all your music instead.
Yes, give me all your music.
So you're with a band since shortly after the self-titled record Flotsam and Jetsam.
Yes. Actually,
And
that actually has something to do with why I'm in the band, actually, because the band recorded the drums for that album at my recording studio, and Jason Bittner was playing drums and I was engineering, and that's the first time I heard the new Flotsam. Like, I was always a fan of Flotsam from back in the day. Like, I loved the first two albums, but that was the first time I had a chance to actually listen to what they were doing now and what they sounded like now, and what AK was doing, and what Michael was doing, and what Steve was doing, and it was very impressive. I loved that album. I loved that self-titled album. It was in my car for like months. So when Jason left, Steve Conley, who's a friend of mine, called me up and said, hey, do you want to fill in for some tour dates in Europe? We were doing about 11 shows. And I said, yeah, sounds like fun. So, and next thing I know, it's 4 years later.
yeah, and you're a good choice for a drummer, I can tell. And the Flots are a great choice for a band. So congratulations for you and the band, and of course the new record Blood in the Water. I did a review on it a week ago, 10 days maybe, and man, that is great.
Oh, thank you very much.
So now that you know the band and the musicians for 4 years, you can maybe tell me what is the special mixture that is creating the Flotsam and Jetsam magic that is so very different to any other thrash band I know.
Well, I just think it's a chemistry, I think, between the current members. I just think that there's a writing chemistry that's very important, and it started really on the self-titled record, I think, and then the End of Chaos kind of took that a little bit further, and then now on this record, you know, I think that, you know, we've worked together for a long time. I think we're very comfortable exchanging ideas and making changes to other people's ideas. And, you know, when you do that and you have, you know, 4 or 5 guys really looking to create, you know, the best music possible, because that's what we do in Flotsam. We try to make music. I think what changed is we tried to make songs that make us happy first. You know what I mean? Like, if we don't love it, then why should anyone else love it? So, and as a producer, because I'm a producer also, you know, I've worked with bands, and they would come up, you know, they'd say, well, we're recording this song, we don't really like it. And I was like, time out. You know, why would you put on a song on your record if you don't really like it? Why would anybody else like it? And so I think that's a philosophy that now is in Flotsam, and you know, the idea is we all have to love the songs or they don't make it on the record. You know, we had a lot of songs that didn't make it on this record, and you know, we tried to put on the very best material and the songs that made us excited about listening to it and playing it, and then hopefully you find a few million fans around the world that agree with you.
Yeah, I definitely agree with your choice in songs. It's like it's really hard to single out a song and say that is my favorite song of the record. I think Brace for Impact is really great.
I love
yeah.
that one. Yeah, that's a great song. But
And,
yeah, like you said, there's so many great songs on it. I mean, in my opinion, I mean, of course, it's easy to say because I'm in the band, but I'm also a fan. And usually when I work on a record in any sort of production capacity, you know, I've heard the song, you know, 200 or more times by the time it's finished. So usually when I'm done with a production, I don't ever want to hear the album ever again. And I can genuinely tell you that I still really enjoy The End of Chaos, and I still really enjoy listening to Blood in the Water, and I've heard these songs hundreds of times.
Yeah, not, for me, not yet, but I think by this time next year, I will have listened to it a few hundred times. It's the special mixture for me in Flotsam and Jetsam always is the brutality of the guitars and the drums, and on the other side the highly melodic vocals of Eric AK. I always say he's a Ronnie James Dio of thrash metal. And yeah, that sometimes bands try to do that, but they can't. Yeah, it just doesn't fit, because it's like you try to fit pieces together that don't fit together. But you always compose stuff the way that I think, okay, that sounds totally organic.
I think so, and I think it's just a testament to, you know, the musicians in the band. You know, I think AK is probably, you know, the best singer in metal, in my opinion. You know, I think he's got an incredible voice. I actually like his voice now better than I did on the first two albums. Like, I think he gets better. You know, I just love his voice. And the guitar players are, you know, Steve and Michael are, you know, it's like one of the greatest guitar duos, in my opinion, you know, in music. And you've got an incredible bassist in Bill Bodley. And so, you know, you put all this stuff together, and you know, it created some fireworks. And I think it is a chemistry thing. I think if you take one person out of the mix, it's not the same record. And I even talk about Jacob Hansen. You know, he's the mixer on the album. He mixed the album, and you know, I think he did a great job. And I think, you know, if you take him out of it, it's a different record too. I think the chemistry of all of us working together created something that's, I believe is probably, in my opinion, as a fan, I think it's one of the best Flotsam records ever, and that's my opinion.
I really enjoyed The Cold a few years ago. It was like really cheap when I saw it in the record store, and it was like, okay, yeah, I know the band. Okay, it was $5.
Right.
And I just took it home with me, and it was yeah, these multi-layered songs, like you got bridges here and there, and song structures, and that was totally fascinating to me, how Eric sang the thrash parts and the melodic parts, but totally apart from the other parts. Like, yeah, it was like you take your favorite bands from different genres and just mix them together. And yeah, I had to work my way back and forth through the discography because I thought, okay, that is fucking great. But they're always evolving.
Sure.
And that is
Well, I think
really
in particular, the last three albums have a very cohesive direction for the band, and I think it maybe harkens back to the earlier years of the band where, the aggressiveness and the speed and it's just a, like you said, I mean, you use the best word. It's just brutal. I always joke about Flotsam. I say it's like if you had five guys in five cars next to each other and they were just, they push the gas pedal all the way down. That's listening to a Flotsam album. The gas pedal is down all the way, the whole record. And somehow, because in Flotsam you've got drums going crazy, you've got bass going crazy, you've got the guitars doing all this crazy stuff, the vocals are going crazy. All this stuff is going off all over the place. And somehow it's still musical and it's still enjoyable to listen to. I mean, it's a very unique band from that perspective. I don't really hear other bands doing that.
Yeah, I thought the only band comparable to that sound in any way was Anthrax, because they are very thrash metal, in your face, brutal sometimes, and got a great vocalist. But with Flotsam, it's just the technicalities on another level, and the vocals, of course, too. I really love Joey Belladonna. Please, Joey.
Sure, of course, yeah. Of course.
But Eric AK is he's a man.
Well, I think he's if not the best singer in metal, certainly one of the best. There's no doubt about that.
That is true. But of course, I realized that the drums are way really, really great, and us Germans always love it when something is punctuate and efficient.
Yes,
and
exactly. Yes.
And it's like it sounds like a perfectly timed massacre.
I agree with that. Yes, it's a very, especially this album. I think it's a very aggressive, maybe one of the most aggressive Flotsam albums as well. Just because, I think recording it during COVID, and we had a year's worth of dates canceled, and we couldn't really see our fans. We're used to touring and saying hello to our friends and fans and all of that, and all of that now was cut off for like a year. And it was a very difficult time. We had a lot of people in Arizona get sick. We had the highest incidence of COVID per capita of almost anywhere in the world. I mean, it was a very, very high percentage out here. I mean, we had two of the guys in the band got sick. Their girlfriends got sick. AK's mom was in the hospital for 8 weeks, and they didn't think she was going to make it. She did make it, which is very, we're very thankful for that. But it was something, the virus touched us in a very personal manner. So it was a very, it was a difficult time for us. And I think that some of that frustration and angst is certainly reflected in the music, for sure.
Yeah, in German there's a catchphrase. It's like die Einschüsse kommen näher. Das heißt, it means if someone hits something hits close to home, it's like someone shoots at you, and the bullet holes come nearer, ever nearer, and that sounds like it was very close to the band itself.
So it was. When we did our photo shoot for the record, two of the guys were still sick when we did photo shoots for the album, and actually when we did the video too. Mike was still recovering, so, it took him about 5 weeks to get over it, and, fully. And he said it was a little rough, it was a little bit it was a rough thing.
Yeah, I was very fortunate, but I'm a diabetic, and because of that, it was like, okay, stay away, everyone. And I was very much at home, and home office and stuff like that.
We tried to do the same thing, and even when we recorded the record, like when we'd go do vocals at my studio, AK would be in the tracking room and I would be in the control room, and we never saw each other except through the glass. You know, he went in, he'd go take the door into the control room or the tracking room, and then I'd go into the control room. We'd see each other through the glass and say hello, and that was about it.
That's very clever. We cannot lose you.
Keep our parents safe, you know, because I have a mother and a mother-in-law that are both in their 80s, and so we're trying to keep everybody safe. So we were being very careful as well, you know.
Yeah, that is good. We can't lose Flotsam and Jetsam, dude.
Well, we did our best, trying to keep everybody safe.
That's very good. You mentioned the pandemic. Yeah, what was it like to record an album at in these times, and of course, the circumstances?
Well, it was definitely a little bit more difficult because, you know, you're doing it under more constrained circumstances, and you are trying to, you know, be distant. So when we started out gathering the material, you know, we never saw each other. We're just sending stuff back and forth and trying to pick the best songs and then figure out which ones we want to finish off. And you know, I just started laying drums down, and then we just started layering other stuff on. And you know, towards the end of the sessions, we were able to see each other a little bit, but it was a different record, and it was a different mood during the record. You know, I mean, like, we were all very concerned about, you know, where everything was headed and what's going to happen. And you know, certainly we had a lot of people that were affected. You know, I had friends that, you know, a couple close friends that ended up in the hospital on oxygen for, you know, 8 days or whatever. So, you know, and these weren't older people either. You know, these were younger. You know, I mean, they weren't young, but they were, you know, they're definitely not in their, you know, their late 40s. You know, so it was one of those things where you just didn't know who was going to be affected. I had some friends that had barely any symptoms. Like, I have a friend and his family, they lost their sense of smell and taste for a few days, and that was it. And they were fine. And then I had other friends that ended up in the hospital. So you never knew what was going to happen with you know, it's almost like there's no way to determine how badly somebody was going to be affected.
Yeah, that was what I thought too, and because of that, I got angry many times over people in the internet, just saying, it's just a flu. Come on, shut up.
Well, yeah, it's not the flu. It was definitely not the flu. There was definitely something, and I don't know. To me, it seemed more like a viral pneumonia. You know, we had another close friend of ours who was in the hospital with pneumonia and COVID, and he survived, but he said it was pretty bad. So, I mean, there's a lot of people we know that were affected. There's no doubt about it. I mean, it was in Arizona. It was kind of a big thing here.
So the attitude on the record is part the fight against this pandemic.
I think so. I mean, I think some of the frustration and some of the feelings that we had definitely ended up on the record. So, and I said in another interview that, you know, in some sense, you know, I think when you're going through something that's very challenging and you're going through a tough time, you know, sometimes that makes for great art. You know, like a lot of great art in our history comes from, you know, painful circumstances. And I think to some degree, you know, the circumstances in this case may have helped the record in some way.
Okay, I can promise you one thing. If the following years are way better and your art suffers because of that, and the next records are not as great as Blood in the Water, I will buy them anyway.
Thank you. Let's put it this way. Yes.
Yeah.
If we make a little bit lesser of a record next time and there's no pandemic, I'm okay with that.
Yes. I will just continue throwing money at your direction, the general direction. So I have an interesting question. I think I never asked that a band or a musician, but I'm not that big of a fanboy in every interview, so I have to. For me, Flotsam and Jetsam is a great band, and in my perception, I would say you're quite successful and big, and among the big shots. Um, what is it like to play in a band of that size and standing? Are you really that big? Um, like I think you are, or is it just like yeah, okay, you're a fan, and because of that you think we are that big successful band?
Well, I think it's a little of both. I mean, I think certainly the band is iconic. I think it's an iconic band. It's been around. It's one of the originators of this style of music. It's always been an iconic band. But one thing that we feel as a band is we are still very hungry. Like we're not making records like we don't care. We're making records like this record has to break us and take us to the next level. We want to have tremendous success, and yeah, the band is successful, but we want to be very successful. And we feel that there are other bands that have been around, they started at the same time Flotsam did, and that they're more successful, and we kind of think, well, we should be that successful too. So, we're going after it. We're trying to do everything we can to be as successful as we can, and we joke about this now, but if you look at Motorhead, for instance, Motorhead is a great example of a band. They were always iconic. They always had a good fan base and all that. But if you look at their career, they really got successful towards the end of their career. You know what I'm saying? Like that's when they had their biggest success, was later on. And so we look at each other and go, well, hopefully we can pull a Motorhead. That's what we want to do. We want to have the most success towards the end of the career. We're not at the end yet. I asked AK how long he can keep going. He thinks 10 years. So we're not at the end yet, but we're trying to make this the most impact that the band has ever had.
I would wish you for you as a band and for you as a musician that you would not pull a Motorhead. I would think you deserve to pull a Queen.
Okay.
Because they were fucking big in their lifetimes.
Yes.
And yeah, I don't want anyone to die, so not like that, obviously.
Oh, well, I'm not talking about after Lemmy died. I'm saying like even towards the end of their career, like Motorhead was bigger than they ever were.
Yeah, of course.
And I think that's a testament to, you have something that people can really latch onto. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to make music, always that is the best. What we're trying to do is make the best record of Flotsam's career every time we make a new album. That's the goal. And actually after the last one, we really loved the end of Chaos. That was one of my favorite records that I've ever played on, and we really felt strongly about that album. And we told each other, like, man, how are we going to top this? How are we going to, make it better? And we weren't sure that we were going to be able to, and it seems like we kind of did. I mean, from the fan response and the press response, it looks like we topped the last album, and that's always the goal. You always want to get better and move forward, and that's what we're going to continue to try to do.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the 5 best records of the year. I can predict that it's hard for any band that will bring out music in the next 6 months to come near that.
Well, thank you very much.
And the funny thing is, I always do this in the middle of the year. Sometimes I do it in March. Like it's like I get a record and it's like, okay, there's a record of the year no matter what comes after this, and I'm always right.
Nice. Well, I hope you are right again.
I think I will, because one of the best records last year was for me, it was Empire of the Blind by Heathen. And Blood in the Water is better. That much I can say. So I don't think that any thrash band.
Thank you for those kind words. That's very appreciated.
Yeah, I did a review, and yeah, I do. I don't know, 25 to 38 reviews a month, and I always really enjoy it when I put the headphones on and press play, and something like this happens. It's like, okay, I'm in for 35 seconds, and I already know this is gonna be so fucking good. And it was, and it is.
Well, thank you very much.
I have one question. When it comes to the artwork of Blood in the Water, that is the only thing I do not adore like 100%. Because I don't like digital art that much. But yeah, aside from that, uh, it's I think I gave it a 9 or a 10.
I think you
So
gave it. I think you might have given it a 10, which was awesome. But yeah, on the artwork, you know, it's a tough thing because everybody has opinions and everybody you know, likes certain things or doesn't like certain things. And you know, for us, we brought Flotzilla back. You know, that's the character that's on, you know, Doomsday for the Deceiver. So we tried to kind of harken back to the, you know, the origins of the band with the, you know, putting Flotzilla back on the cover. And we actually had two different covers. One was for Brace for Impact, and we're going to turn that artwork into a T-shirt. But the name of the album was either going to be Brace for Impact or Blood in the Water, and we just thought the Blood in the Water artwork, we liked it a little bit better, so we went with that. And Andy Plinkington did the artwork. He also did the video for Blood in the Water as well. And you know, I think he's a fabulously talented artist, and you know, but artwork is one of those things where, you know, you could show two people the same painting and one person is going to go, that's the greatest painting I've ever seen in my life, and the other person's going to go, I don't like that painting at all. You know, it's subjective. So, you know, all we can do is try and do what we think is right, and you know, hopefully enough fans agree with us.
yeah, I think maybe it's like subconscious, because I myself like to draw, but I can't do shit on the computer. I can't do it. It's just drawing with the mouse is just
Well, I do think Andy is tremendously talented. You know, he's done a lot of artwork for us, and I personally, you know, I love his stuff, but you know, it's a personal thing. You know, like you say, you know, if somebody doesn't like digital art, then you know, maybe they're not going to like it, but hopefully they still like the music that's inside.
Yeah, of course, and that would never be a reason for me to not check out a band, because I realized that it's a bad example, but if you find a band and it has a really shitty cover, which yours is not, listen to the music, because very often it's like, okay, yeah, but the music is really great. So it would never be a point for me to say no. I'm not going to check it out because I don't like the art 100%. It's still like a 80% artwork for me. So
Sure.
so that is still quite good. Yeah, I got one last question for you.
Sure.
And yeah, it's COVID related, but not too much, because I think we talked about COVID enough. It's
Sure.
just if this whole shit show of a pandemic, this dumpster fire of 2 years is over, what is the first thing, not music related, you want to do that you were not able to do for the last 50 months?
Well, it's a funny thing to say because I don't normally like to go see shows, but I will tell you this, like, you know, it would be nice to just go and sit in an audience with a ton of people and not have to worry about it. I mean, that would be my favorite thing to do, like, right, you know, if this thing is done and over with, that will be my favorite thing to do. And it's really funny thing for me to say because I hate normally being in big audiences. You know, like I like being on stage, but I don't like being in the crowd generally. But I think it would be really cool to go to a show and be in a crowd, at seeing somebody that I enjoy seeing perform. I will enjoy that this time.
Yeah,
Yes.
I miss this really much, very much. It's yeah, hugging other people you don't know, and yeah, drinking beer with
With friends.
strangers.
Yes, absolutely. Just hanging out with friends and not having to worry about, getting sick or something. Yeah, I mean, it would be very nice to, it makes you appreciate what we had in the pre-COVID world, I mean, it makes you very thankful for what we did have and for what we were able to experience. And hopefully we get to do that again.
I really think that maybe this year something will be possible music wise, and next year we will experience a new normal.
I hope you are correct. Yes.
Yeah, listen to Nostradamus.
Nostradamus. That's funny. I like that.
I just made it up on the go.
Well, you should go with that. You might want to go with that for your predictions on the top albums. Say, hey, listen to Nostradamus.
Yeah, maybe I will.
You have the beard and everything.
That is right, but he had that hilarious hat, and I'm not a guy who uses hats, so
I don't know. You can find one of those easy enough, right?
I think yeah. Just Google it, Nostradamus hat. That will be easy.
From Amazon, right?
Yeah, or maybe not, because I don't want Jeff Bezos to be any richer than he already is. But yeah, maybe like a flea market.
There you go.
So yeah, it was very nice to speak with you and ask a few questions, and yeah, thank you for bearing with me and my sometimes rather bumpy English.
Oh, no problem. You did an amazing job. I can tell you, it's a lot better than if we were trying to speak in German. That's for sure.
I just realized that I'm using th on in words that don't have a th.
Well, I think you did an excellent job. I'm still trying to find out that temperature for you. So let me see if I can find that. Oh, so 115 Fahrenheit, that's 46 degrees Celsius.
Fuck.
That's why I said whatever it is out there, I can guarantee you that it's hotter out here.
That's like in the desert, or on the surface of the sun.
It actually is a desert.
Jesus Christ, 46 degrees is like I wouldn't leave the house ever when it's that warm.
Well, it's not quite that bad. You have air conditioning in your house, you have air conditioning in your car, you have air conditioning everywhere. Now, if you didn't have air conditioning, that would be a problem.
Yeah, I'm pretty pasty, so if I walk around outside when it's 46 degrees, I think you will pretty fast. I will smell like bacon.
Yes, I was going to say you'd probably burst into flames. Probably would be my thought.
like in John Carpenter's Vampires. It's like, oh. Yeah, I'd rather not try that.
Yeah, I understand. Well, Arizona, this is summertime in Arizona. Summertime is always, there's about 4 months you want to live somewhere else, but the rest of the year is amazing. I mean, and even summer's not too bad. You get to go out and sit by the pool or whatever in the morning, and usually in the evenings it's okay. You just don't want to walk around in midday.
Or work outside.
You don't want to work outside, and some people do. I have a friend who's a painter, and he said, yeah, it gets pretty rough now.
Yeah, well, just imagine you're deciding to do gardening out of fun.
Well, yeah, probably not this time of year.
No. So I think you have another interview upcoming.
I do, yes.
Okay. So I will leave the house because we don't have 46 degrees here. We have I think 28, and yeah, I wish you a nice evening.
Thank you very much.
I think it's morning. It's 12.
It's 10 to 9 in the morning.
Okay, so have a nice day, and then have a nice evening.
And you have a very nice evening.
Thanks a lot. So
Nice seeing you, Dennis.
yeah, maybe see you next time.
Absolutely. Take care.
Okay, you
All right,
too.
bye.
Bye.